What is going on, everybody? Guys, this is, I apologize. I apologize. You guys have not heard me talk for the past like 40 minutes, have you? Guys, let me know in the chat. I don't think we were live. Oh my God. This is horrible. Coffee got Frankie. Yup. Guys, that is my fault. I am live on everything except on YouTube. Oh my God. Oh God, that is frustrating. What is going on, everybody? I can't believe I'm doing this again. Guys, I just went through so much TA and did not realize because I see OBS, I am live, right? So I'm double checking that and I'm live. And the go live button was never clicked on YouTube. So what is going on, everybody? Thank you for tuning in. I severely apologize for this late live stream. I really started at like 1:20 something. And yeah, great. Awesome. No, no, we weren't live. Dang. Yeah. Well, shout out to everybody. I did shout out everybody in chat. I'm not going to do it again to waste any more time. Yeah. Oh God, that's so frustrating, guys. I apologize. Oh God, that is so annoying. But what is going on, guys? I'm going to jump right into it. Baby, that's so frustrating. Oh God, I've just been talking to nobody. It's more embarrassing than anything, guys. I've literally just been sitting here. I just looked up a chat and somebody said, "So is Frankie still coming on?" And I was like, "Oh man, you got to scrub forward, bro. We've been live for a while." And then I looked up and noticed that the live button is not. Oh my God, I can't believe this. Well, guys, I apologize. That is 100% my fault. But I'm going to go ahead and jump right into it. But shout out to everybody for being here. I appreciate every single one of you guys. Uh, Yeah. Quick and dirty, Frankie. Yeah, let's go. All right, guys. Well, welcome to the shortest episode of the Frankie Candles Premium live stream. I'm just kidding. I am still unfortunately going to have to end this at 2. Not 2, at 3. But oh God, that is so frustrating. Anyway, let's continue on here, guys. Let me start fresh. First off, big news. Weekly money flow, guys. Weekly money flow. I'm so sorry. This is like embarrassing. I can't believe you guys just sat there for that long. It's really my fault, guys. Anyway, just quick note: the Chainlink video that went up Sunday. If anybody saw it, it was basically like watching the foreign version of Godzilla. The words were not matched up with my lips. We got a 1,500 views on it. So if you saw that video and it got pulled down before you were able to watch it, it will be re-uploaded. We're having the editors fix it. They will re-upload it in at 3 p.m. today. So if you haven't seen that Chainlink video, go check that out. If you did watch it, I'd really, really appreciate if you guys just went back and hit that like button one more time because video is going to get absolutely decimated because we had to take it down. But with that being said, guys, let's go ahead and move on. Big news, weekly money flow has crossed over into the green. This is a very, very bullish sign. And just to repeat what I just said, when you compare this to history, guys, we've been in the red with our weekly money flow for longer than we ever have, right? So if you measure it from here to here, back in 2015, we were in the red for about 322 days. 2018, you were in the red for about 217 days. And right now, we have basically been in the red for over 450 days, right? Roughly. I think it might be time to start crossing into the green and getting this money flow into a bigger green wave. You're live? We didn't notice. Too busy chatting. Yeah, it's actually crazy how many of people we retained. You guys are just hanging out in chat. Guys, God, I will never leave you guys hanging like that. I had no idea. I hate that you guys were sitting there and I had no idea. I would never leave you guys waiting like that. Oh my God. I wish I was at least recording so I could have at least, sent you guys the video to cover the TA. But anyway, pull to Tino. Did Tino do that? Let me know. That's funny, man. Shout out to Vin. But this money flow crossover into the green, guys, is pretty big. And as you guys know, last week we absolutely decimated the trades. I mean, we were crushing this local sideways range that we have here. Absolutely crushed it. However, towards the end of the week, guys, it became a pretty frustrating end of the week. Shout out to Tyler. Said we'll follow you to the gates of hell. I love you guys. You guys are awesome. But we absolutely crushed this range last week, guys. But towards the end of the week, it got a little bit frustrating. It was very, very choppy. And as you guys know, we are getting some mixed signals, right? Obviously, we are getting somewhat of a bull pennant here. which would be a bullish continuation pattern, right? It was also it was also somewhat of a bull flag. Definitely bullish continuation, bullish consolidation happening here, right? And typically we see these break to the upside more often than they break to the downside. However, we do have some mixed signals, right? We do have the higher daily time frames with the VWAPs coming down, and unfortunately, guys, we are still in that murky water right now. Um, uh, but yeah, not if he doesn't tell us he's going. Shout out to Curtis. Um, um, Tanner said maybe just to the gates. I don't want to go in. I'm right there with you, Tanner. But uh, the mixed signals here, guys, are on the higher time frames, right? Well, not really. The 2-day. Looking for the red dot, guys. This is likely going to give us a move down when we print it. But this, if I've ever seen one, guys, this is a bull pennant breaking out, right? And we were looking at this last week. And then also last night, I posted in the Discord. Not always super active on the weekends. But when something happens or I happen to have nothing going on and I am sitting at the computer, I do, this is what I do for fun, right? So I just sometimes wind up getting in there on the weekends and updating you guys. But here's the thing. VWAP's coming down not only on your 2-day, but we also have it coming down on our 3, 4, and our 5-day and 6-day, right? Like all these higher daily time frames do look like they VWAPs want to roll back over to the downside and start to come back down, right? Looking to print those red dots. Now, the mixed signal really starts on the daily, right? Because the 2 days looking for the red dot. The daily. Is it printing the green dot? Yeah. Daily is printing the green dot with our money flow coming up. So this is our bullish case, guys. Remember last week in the premium live stream when we were talking about kind of if this winds up breaking to the upside, what we would be looking at. I'll go ahead and see if I can pull up the actual post that I posted here. I'll just show you live. It kind of has to do with this post, but I'll just show you live. So if we come on over to the kitchen chart, bada boom, and we come on over to the Bitstamp, and we go ahead and we pull up our TA. Here we go. So this is kind of what I would look for, guys, because the 2-day red dot is looking to print, but I am taking these with a grain of salt, right? And the reason being is it's for a couple of reasons. Number 2, we could easily get support on the 0 line with this 2-day VWAP. Number 2, especially with this daily green dot printing. If this daily green dot prints and confirms, we are likely just going to get the move up, right? And again, we are coming in at about $31,000 right now. So if we confirm this green dot and money flow continues up, this is bullish. And this is kind of what I was saying in my post from last night. This money flow on the daily and the money flow on the 2-day, right? Coming back up into the green, right? All the fact that we have money flow coming up is why I am favoring longing the higher lows in the long term rather than looking for absolute dumps to the downside, looking to short these highs all the way to the downside. And again, the reason for that is money flow. Money flow comes into the green, it's trending up. That would indicate this trend is likely to likely to continue to the upside, right? And again, this is how we were able to short all of this move down. And right, we were in the green, crossed over into the red. And as our money flow was coming out, this is why we were short heavy, looking to short the higher lows, any lower high, right? I'm sorry, I messed that up in my post in Discord. Thank you, Chemistry Bro, for clearing that up and letting me know that that typo was in there. I say higher low and lower high so often that they just mesh together. But the reason we were looking for these to short these lower highs was because of money flow crossing into the red on the daily, right? Or coming out just in general, right? We had a big green wave. We came into the red and we were just kind of bing-bonging around. As money flow continued out, that's what gave us the bias to short these lower highs. Just like we were doing that, we are going to be doing the opposite in the opposite direction. Money flow is coming up on the daily. This would indicate that the trend is likely to continue up. Now, again, you might be saying, well, he's saying the trend is going to continue up, right? So I am favoring to long higher lows. And I'm going to talk about where I might be looking to long some of those higher lows if we wind up getting them. But you might be thinking to yourself, well, he just said the higher daily time frames are looking to cool off. Why would he be looking to long a higher low? Here's the thing. This daily, right? This daily does look like it could be setting up for a nice bearish divergence. So this is kind of my plan right now, guys. If we see this green dot confirm and it doesn't disappear, and this money flow continues to the upside, this is pretty bullish looking. The daily looks pretty bullish. If we can get that push to the upside, I will be looking to put in a higher high on our price action into some of these levels. It's very hard to know which level we are going to reject. I would think we'll probably push past these highs, putting a higher high into this SFP level right here, or potentially this purple box from up here, getting closer to about 32K, 32,000. We're going to talk about the key levels of the upside in a second, but I will be looking to push up into these higher end short boxes, right? These short zones, these purple boxes to the upside. If this does wind up happening, we will likely see our momentum wave come up on the daily. And if we are able to put that lower high, what this does is it sets us up for a much better short entry, right? Because if we wind up getting this thing to squeeze to the upside and we get that higher high on our price action and we get this daily bearish divergence, I am going to be much more comfortable shorting that daily bear div than I would be shorting something right now. Because again, we're in a bullish consolidation pattern, which looks like it is starting to break out potentially, right? It's not, we could, a lot of times what these do is they fake out and then they'll rip to the downside, or sometimes they fake down and then rip back up. So you have to be careful with these. It's kind of why I don't just trade patterns, because they don't, they don't play out exactly as you would think they do. It's a little more tricky than just seeing a bull pennant, getting into a long, and then letting it rip. Sometimes it's that easy, but not always, right? Let's see. Yes. Okay. So shout out to Dana, or Life Far Out, says, is the money flow the reason we are not giving that 2-day bearish divergence much credibility? It is part of it, right? Because even the 2-day money flows in the green, right? So if we do wind up confirming this bearish divergence on the 2-day, it is definitely a short opportunity. Now, if that daily rips to the upside, that might get invalidated. We might come up and make a higher high here with our momentum wave. But if we did wind up getting that bearish divergence, money flow is coming up into the green, right? So it would be a decent short potentially, depending on what things look like when we get up there. But we are keeping in mind that, hey, it's a 2-day bear div, which is very strong, and we are likely to see this. We are likely to see that potentially play out. But because our money flow is indicating the longer trend will likely continue to the upside, I would treat that as a shorter term trade to the downside. And then as we get down to some key levels of support, I would rather look to load up on some serious longs, because money flow is pointing in the upward direction, right? On the higher time frames. That's important to realize. It's on the higher time frames that we're looking at this money flow. So that is a great question, Dana. Hopefully that answers your question. So yes, I will be looking at this 2-day bear div. And yes, the daily money flow and the 2-day money flow even would be pointing against that. So it's not that it, and again, you said, is that why we're not giving it much credibility? It definitely has credibility. I will probably look to take some positions. If that happens, I will be looking for shorts. However, keeping in mind that the money flow is coming up, I know that I'm likely not going to be holding on. I'm not going to be very greedy with that short, right? Because the money flow is indicating that even if we do get a move down, we are likely to put a higher low in and then continue to the upside. So hopefully that makes sense, Dana. Let me know if that explains it. But again, on the daily, that is kind of what I would look for. This would be a much nicer short for me to take, in my opinion, if we can get that higher high and then, get that daily VWAP to cool off, and then look for a short position there. But right now, this daily does look like it may want to give us a push up. And the way this wave is just set up for that bear div, does look like we may be able to push up. And unfortunately, guys, I obviously like to, I'm very open on this channel. I'm not going to sit up here and sometimes, right, like when we put the setups in, like I try to put the highest probability setups in there. I don't like to just put I don't like to look at a million different coins and put a million different setups and then like 5 out of 30 of those setups actually play out, right? Then we're going to have a Discord full of people that are over trading and just slowly eating away their accounts. I like to put the highest probability setups. It doesn't mean they all win, but we win more often than we don't, right? And that's definitely obviously you could go back and look at the Discord, but I like to put the highest probability setups out there, and I only like to come off confident and like very, very confident in a direction if I am truly confident in the direction of price. And right now, things are very confusing. Things are very choppy. Things are very wish-washy. And I'm gonna compare what is going on right now to 2 areas in history that I think it's going to clear a lot of things up for people. So my general sentiment here right now, guys, is I will say I'm a little bit more neutral than anything. because it's like I want to lean a little bit more bullish, but like I also want to lean yeah, I probably lean a little bit, definitely more bullish in the long term. It's the short term that I'm a little unclear on, right? And I'm gonna explain to you why. Daily is looking very bullish. Green dot, money flow coming up. This is looking like you want to get a move to the upside, right? And kind of one of the things we've been looking at that are really looking like we might want to get some downside is the 4 hour. This is a big one of the big time frames we've been looking at, or I've been looking at, and clearly we have money flow coming out on the 4 hour. Almost every single time we see this, guys, money flow comes out on the 4 hour. Likely the trend is going to either start or continue to the downside. We have consistently come out with the money flow here through all the pumps, right? Like right here, we were like, oh, I thought the money flow was coming up. What happened? And then boom, right back down to the bottom of the range. Right here, oh no, it's like you're starting to think like, oh my God, what happened to the money flow coming out on the 4 hour? Like we could easily come back down here based off the 4 hour money flow. Now, the daily would not be pointing in that direction at all. The daily would be pointing to a breakout, which I'm going to talk about in a second. But money flow coming out on the 4 hour is one of the big things I've been looking at for some more continued downside. And I want to, this is reminding me a lot of this area right here. If you guys remember, if you were in the premium Discord at this time, this was a very confusing time as well. Sometimes you're in an environment where you can just crush every single trade. And I mean, we absolutely destroyed this range as well. But once it got to the end of the range and we started coiling up out at the end of this, what looked like a bull pennant, right? This definitely looked like a somewhat of bullish consolidation, right? Like it definitely looked like a bull pennant. And we were a little torn here because you had the bull pennant, which was pointing to some potential more upside, but you also had the money flow on your 4 hour coming out. And what happened? Money flow on the 4 hour was coming out, and you still got that short squeeze to the upside. Now, we were able to see this coming, and we actually updated the Discord. It was like right before we broke out. We wound up hopping up on top of that bull pennant, and then absolutely tore to the upside. And we were able to spot this by looking at Coinalyze. I was able to see that the futures traders were just continuing to short into this move to the upside, and the spot market was just buying and buying and buying. And eventually, that spot buying pushed price up and stopped out all those shorts. All the shorts got absolutely wrecked and gave us this big push to the upside. And we actually saw this happen. I saw this forming the night before it happened. I was able to get it in the Discord the night before it happened. And but the reason we were able to do that was because we were looking at more than just market cipher and just the candlesticks. We were looking at Coinalyze. We were looking at the CVD, the spot CVD, and the future CVD. So we were able to spot that. But if you were just looking at the price chart here, you wouldn't have really seen that coming. You would have just stuck with your bearish bias because your money flow is coming out on the 4 hour, amongst other things, right? I don't really know exactly what the 2-day and we could try to look at what like the 2-day was looking at that time. Let's see. This is not anywhere near where we want to be. Like right here, like right here, you had the. Okay, I mean, you had the 2-day green dot, right? So you had more pointing to the upside at that point. But it does remind me, looking at that 4 hour money flow, it's very, very similar, right? Like this money flow is pointing to the downside, but because we saw that short squeeze, we knew like, hey, this is probably going to break to the upside, guys. Watch out for that short squeeze. And then boom, we absolutely got it. Put in that high, or that one last high before finally coming down and actually getting the money flow crossover, and then coming to the downside and then continuing to the downside. And then we shorted like every lower high that came in here. But what this does look like a very similar situation, guys, and we could see a very similar thing happen because we have that bull pennant. It was a long range, right? This has been very good to us. I don't want to say easy trading, but very, very simple setups here. We were crushing these longs and shorts throughout this entire range, and now we're getting to the end, and it's getting a little bit blurry, guys. So we could see something here. I just want to point out that just because this 4 hour money flow is coming out doesn't mean that we're 100% going to come down. And I also want to compare this to another point in history, guys, which, as you know, we've been looking at the point in the cycle that we're in right now. We've been comparing this very, very closely to 2019. This 2019 bull market or bear market rally that we had as money flow was coming up, and then it crossed over into the green. Right here, we got that last little push up. This does seem, again, there's no way to really know if we're exactly here in the cycle. That's very speculative, but it does seem that we are somewhere in here, right? It seems like we're somewhere in here. Same structure as well, guys. Like, right? Like just very, it's very clean, right? You peak out, you come into the bear market, bing bong around, capitulation to the bottom, and then you break out flip that to support, and then you start your bear market rally. You cool off a little bit here. Money flow on the weekly crosses over into the green. Boom, you get one last push up, and then your real accumulation phase starts. Obviously, the best time to buy would be down here, but this is what a lot of people consider the accumulation phase, where you basically just ranged around here. This was like, if you didn't get in at the bottom, this was kind of where you needed to be buying if you wanted to make money in the parabolic bull run of 2021. And again, we did range around. I'm ignoring this panic wick from March of 2020. If that didn't happen, we basically just would have went sideways. But what I want to do here, guys, is I want to take a look at what the 4-hour money flow looked like in this whole move to the upside. So let's go down to the 4-hour. And I want to kind of show you guys, and we took a look at this in the Discord last night. I showed you guys, let me go into bar replay mode real quick. But yeah, I showed you guys this in the Discord where I basically just highlighted, where is it? Where'd it go? Right here, right? Like, look at this 4-hour money flow in that same area. This is the 4-hour time frame back in 2018 or 2019. Look at our 4-hour money flow. Our 4-hour money flow, and I'll show you this on the actual chart right now. Let me move back a little bit. Boom. Okay, so here we are, right? Right here, 2019. Right. So I would argue, we're somewhere in here potentially. Right. And again, like this doesn't mean that's exactly where we are. It doesn't mean it's going to play out exactly like that. But it is very, very similar, like how I just showed you guys. Right. Same structure and, similar bear market rally. But look at the 4-hour money flow, guys. Look at this 4-hour money flow, right? Like you got the big push up. Money flow was big in the green, in the green, in the green. You faked out into the red, right back into a massive green wave. And then you kind of bing-bonged around a little bit in the red here before coming up into another massive wave. But look at this money flow on the 4-hour, guys. If you were looking at the chart right here, this is, dang, look at this scam. This is a complete scam. But anyway, you're looking, money flow's coming out. Are we going to break up or down out of this range? It's very hard to say because money flow would be pointing to the downside. Right? Money flow would say, hey, this range is likely going to break to the downside. If you look at the 2-day, let's see where the 2-day was. I don't know where it was. So VWAP was coming up on the 2-day. So you did have a little bit more confluence back then that you would come to the upside. But then, like, what happened, right? Obviously, we know. Like, you broke down a little bit, but look at that. You faked out. And then even here, you might have even thought, like, hey, money flow's still generally coming out. But then obviously, like, yeah, even here, you're like, yeah, it's still generally coming out here. This is why you don't want to rely just on one thing. And then obviously, eventually, we just wound up coming back up and getting a massive, like, the 4-hour money flow never really came into the red decisively here. It just stayed in the green for a very long time. And that's why I said in that post from last night, like sometimes when you're in a bullish environment like we are right now, sometimes these explosions to the upside can happen disregarding what any indicator is telling you, whether you're looking at the whether you're looking at market cipher, Lux algo, whatever you're looking at, you can see these big moves to the upside, completely disregarding the indicator, and you'll see money flow do really unnatural things like this, rather than what we're seeing in our current. Let me turn off bar replay mode. Totally different than what we're seeing in our current price action. Or what we typically see, where you come up into a green wave and then it's time to cool off, and then you're back into a green wave and then it's time to cool off. So you could see this just absolutely rip back up into the green, and those are two really good examples of it, right? So again, it does remind me a lot of this, and it does remind me a lot about a lot of this. So we have to be really careful, just trusting one thing. That's why we were looking at things such as Coinalyze to look at the CVD up in this range before getting that. So we are keeping a close eye, and you guys will know if you're in the Discord. Part of that last night. I actually shared the wrong screenshot. I didn't mean to share this screenshot. I meant to share a different screenshot. But we did start to see a little bit of bullish CVD on the 2-hour here. I believe this is the 2-hour. So this could assist this if we are going to break to the upside. That would assist us, obviously, getting that bullish CVD. That is giving us a little bit of a look behind the candlesticks. It's giving us a little extra information that market cipher or a regular indicator on the price chart may not actually give us, right? So with that being said, I do think we could potentially break up here, and I want to come down to the lower time frames really quickly. I mean, are we getting a bull pennant? Yeah, I mean, this looks like some kind of bullish consolidation as well. Let me spawn this volume profile really quickly. So yeah, I mean, coming up to the 4 hour, or back to the 4 hour, obviously our 4 hour red dot disappeared. Money flow is coming back out here, guys. VWAP rolling back over. So I'll be honest, I'm really not convinced in either direction right now. Things are very unclear. But the plus side is, the beautiful thing about being traders, guys, is we can hedge in both directions, right? Like if we don't, it doesn't really matter if it, like my long-term bag, sure, I want it to go up. That would be good for my long-term bags, but also a massive dump would be great for my long-term bags as well, because I can continue to stack cheap crypto. So that's why I completely separate long-term from short-term, right? So when I'm looking for these trades with you guys, I want you to understand that all of the TA that I do based off of these trades is completely separated from my long-term bias on crypto. I am long-term bullish on crypto 100%, 100% of the time. Look at the weekly chart, right? Bitcoin goes up and to the right. And especially right now with all the institutional interest, the ETFs, rumors of the ETFs flying around, all that stuff. I do think we could be on the brink of one of the biggest bull runs we've ever had. With that being said, I kind of wanted to focus on, because I've been talking a lot about this 4 hour money flow, and it would indicate a move to the downside, but I kind of wanted to show you guys that there are times where we've seen that happen before, where money flow came out, and then we'd wound up getting that big move to the upside anyway. And like kind of what we were looking at here to help us kind of avoid this bad signal, right? And it doesn't make the indicator bad or anything like that, but any indicator is not going to hit 100% of the time. But I've been looking at Market Cipher for so long that I can kind of see, like when we start bing bonging around like this with the money flow, I'm like, okay, there's something. This might be a false signal, right? And every indicator gives you false signals. I've been looking at this long enough to know like kind of when they're gonna, when I know when money flow is a little bit indecisive, right? And then that's when I look at things such as CVD to see like, hey, is there anything else? Let me see what like people are actually doing. Let me see what the traders are doing and see if I can use that information to predict a move to the upside or downside, right? So I do compare it a lot to this. We could see something like this happen. We have bullish CVD divergence at lower time frames at the moment. Shout out to Baronin. Hopefully I'm saying your name right, dude. Let me know. Also daily green dot. Yeah, the daily green dot is another big thing I'm looking at right now. So yeah, if we wind up confirming this, and money flow coming up as well, like this is pretty right now. So I do think we could break up, and it's kind of like back to that same setup I was talking about with the daily bearish divergence. Did we talk about that? I might have talked about that in the stream that I did to nobody when no one was in here, and I was just live streaming to nobody for like almost an hour. Not an hour, it's like a 30 minutes, I think. But if someone could just let me know so I don't kill time here, just let me know. Were we taking a look at that? Or was no one in here when we were looking at that? The daily bearish divergence. I can go over it really quickly. No, I think we did. I think we just went over it. But yeah, basically, that's when I'd be looking at this setup, right? Like if we get that move to the upside, I would be much more comfortable getting a higher high into any of these higher up levels, and then potentially put that bearish daily bearish divergence in. And then at that point, if we wind up getting that, chances are by the time we start printing that daily bear div, your 2-day, even if your VWAP comes back up, your 2 days probably back down, printing another red dot here, and it would just be a better environment to look for, a bigger short position or just like a more higher probability short position, rather than trying to catch a savage short right now, fighting against this green dot on the daily with money flow coming up. Yeah, we looked at it. Okay, yeah. So that's basically what I would be looking at if we do get that move to the upside. That's kind of the big short that I would be looking at, or kind of the most higher probability short up into, if we can get up into that $32,000 area. And again, I'll go over those key levels in just a second. We can get up into that 32K level, put that higher high in, get that daily bear div. That would be something I'd be more comfortable shorting at the moment, or not at the moment, but when the time comes. Shout out to Tyler Durden. Tell Frank the truth or spend more time with him. We didn't look at it. Shout out to Tyler Durden. Shout out to Darren. But yeah, guys, that's kind of what I'm looking at here. This daily is screaming that it wants to go up. But again, this is not confirmed, so you want to be careful. Again, like very, very, very murky waters out there. But let's come down to the lower time frames and talk about, kind of what I would be looking at for some long positions. Now, I will say this, guys. Entries are going to be a little bit hard if we are not going to come back all the way down to our value area low, or even, if we are not going to get a decent cool off here. to some of these lower levels, potentially this local golden pocket, retest the value area high. Definitely a high probability that if we do get a dump here, we may find support on the top of this value area high. But if we are not going to get those moves, it's going to be really hard to try to enter into these longs if you're not already in a long from one of the setups from yesterday at the bottom of the range, which, if you were in this long, you probably took profits because you would have been looking for the short that we got here. But if you're not in a long from one of the setups, still from down here at the bottom of the range from last week, it's going to be really hard to find an entry here until we cool off. And the problem with this is if we wind up just ripping from here, it's going to be really hard for people not to FOMO into a long position, right? Because once we start pushing up, it's going to be like, oh my God, we're breaking up to higher prices. I don't want to miss this move. But again, I want to help you guys separate your long-term thinking from your short-term thinking. Here's how I look at it. I very rarely feel FOMO when if this breaks up right now, this looks like a bullpen, right? Like if this winds up breaking up and we get this to push up, like I'm not going to FOMO into long position, even if I thought we were going to rip up to 34K. I'm not going to FOMO into a leveraged long position, like a leveraged long scalp to try to catch that move, because the thing to understand here is even if you miss that entry, you're not really missing anything, right? Because I think even when people are day trading or leverage trading, they see the price moving and they feel left out. But you're not missing out on anything, right? Because price is going to move up, and then it's either going to settle and then get another move up that you can set yourself up for, or it's going to move back down. And it's not like you're buying spot here, right? So if you're buying like that, I think the kind of the mentality that people have is, oh my God, price left. I missed my cheap entry. Let me just jump in. Like, you're not missing out on anything. That's why I am so adamant on when I miss moves, I do not chase trades. If we get this rip up and I wasn't in a long position, I wouldn't be FOMOing in. I would just wait for the next short setup or wait for price to cool off and come down to a higher low and look for an actual long entry, because I'm not missing anything. All I'm missing is the volatility. But I don't care if the volatility brings me from 31,000 to 32,000, or if the volatility brings me from 34,000 to 33,000. I just need the movement to make my money here. Now, if you're feeling FOMO, to me, it never made sense to feel FOMO on a leveraged position or a short-term day trade, right? Because like all you're looking for is the volatility of the movement, right? Where long-term, I get it, right? Like if you think prices could never coming back to these prices, like a lot of people FOMO spot buy because they're like, oh my God, we're never going to see 31K again. But I don't want you guys to have that mentality bleed into your leverage trading or bleed into your day trading, right? Because when you're day trading, you don't care if it goes up or down. You don't care if it gets a big move or a small, like you just really need the volatility. So again, like, don't feel FOMO. Like if you're not in a long position here, like again, not financial advice. I don't recommend, I never FOMO into trades, right? I've done it a million times in my life and I've gotten absolutely slaughtered almost every single time, right? Sometimes it works out for sure. I'm sure a lot of you guys know that if you tried it. It will work once in a while, but more often than not, you will get wrecked doing that. And there really is no reason to FOMO, especially if this is just a day trade for you or a leverage trade for you, right? Like there's no reason to FOMO into a move because you're going to get another one, right? So don't get a bad entry on one move when you could just wait for the next move. So does that make sense to you guys? Thanks for rubbing it in, Tyler. Shout out to Tater A. Yeah, there you go. Shout out to Bryant. Like, yeah, schlong is the way right now. Like, when in doubt, schlong. When in doubt, hedge your positions. Be in a short. And that's why we trade these ranges right now. Now, I think I said this last night in the chat. I was hanging out in the Discord chat last night a little bit. And I think I did say this. I'm actually not in a position right now. This is like a very rare situation for Frankie Candles. I believe I am in zero positions. I shouldn't say I believe. I should know that for a fact. I am in no positions right now, right? So now, very uncommon position for me to be in, no pun intended. But if this rips, guys, like I am not just going to FOMO into the green candles. Will I miss a move potentially from here up to, maybe 32.5? Sure. But I didn't miss out, right? Like I bought my spot Bitcoin lower, right? So like I'm catching that. But then I'm, again, just going to look for that daily bear div potentially to catch the short position. Or if we're not going to come back down, I will look for consolidation, maybe look for a pullback to a higher low, and then look to enter an actual trade and get a high probability setup entry, right? Or high probability entry rather than just FOMOing in and hoping it continues up. So I will say that. Always another trade. Yeah, Darren, guys, listen. Yeah, shout out to Darren. Yeah, there is always going to be another trade, especially when you're playing the game that we're playing here, which is short-term day trading, scalping, leverage trading. Like, there's always another trade. Like, if you, like, always, right? Like, imagine imagine thinking, oh my God, like if you longed here, like, or if you were looking for longs here and you missed your entry, you're like, oh my God, I missed the move, I missed this move, and then you're gonna FOMO in here because you think you're gonna break out, only to come all the way back down. Now, wouldn't you rather just sit on your hands, wait for the short setup, and then get a beautiful entry on the short and cash in on that? And then even if you miss this long entry, you're thinking, oh my God, we're breaking out. No, I missed out. Maybe on your spot bags, yeah, but like for a leverage trade, just wait for the reversal. Even if you are going to continue back up, just wait for a better entry. Don't FOMO, especially when you're day trading. Don't FOMO in. I will say that. Hopefully that makes sense to you guys. I am also currently fiat. Shout out to Matt. I don't know if that means that you're not in a position. I'm in no trade too. Yeah, guys, like when there's no setup, that's the biggest thing. Sometimes the best trade, oftentimes the best trade is no trade. And right now, I at least for the time frames that I look at, for the trades that I typically look at in this Discord, like there is nothing right now saying like confirmed, right? Like I think a lot of people say like, and I know this looks like a bullpen potentially breaking out, and it totally could be, and we could totally get a move up, but that does not mean I'm going to FOMO into the trade. I'm going to sit on my hands, and it is what it is, right? And then again, I'll catch the short, or I'll wait for consolidation and catch a better entry. Like right now, there's no real entry signal for me, right? Unless I was looking at something like the 3-minute, and I was looking at something like this, and we were looking for a degenerate super super low time frame trade. Money flow coming out here on the 3-minute. Maybe I'd be looking, get a 1-minute bear div potentially. Not quite, but maybe I'd be looking to, look for us to come back down here and then enter along there. But it's too short term for me, right? That's not really what I'm looking for at the moment. So there's nothing really screaming. There's no divergences. There's no real entry signals to get in right now. Now, was this an entry signal? Yeah, like this would have been more of an entry that and I just want to clear up like when you should not FOMO into trades, right? Like if you were looking at a trade here on a super low time frame, like even right here, you had a 12-minute bull div, right? You had your price action coming down. Boom. You had your momentum waves coming up slightly, right? And then like there is an entry, right? Like money flow was not coming up. Your money flow was working against you. But if you look at the lower time frames, potentially, yeah, you had money flow coming up on the lower time frames. So you could have developed a case to go long here because there's an actual signal. Like right now, this is chop, guys. There is no entry signal here. If anything, in the short term, I would be looking for more of a short here locally rather than just looking to FOMO into a long position. So just understand that, guys. I'm sitting on my hands. A lot of times, no trade is the best trade. And if you are in a long position, then then that's great. If we break up, you can make money off that. It's not. I just don't want people FOMOing in, especially with your. I was thinking about this over the weekend. I'm like, I don't even really know why people FOMO when they're day trading or leverage trading, because like I don't even really like. For me, honestly, guys, when I day trade or I'm looking for these short-term trades, I could turn off the numbers. Like I wouldn't even need to look at the price. Like I don't care what the actual price is. I'm just looking for the volatility, right? Like it would help to look at price to know if you're at a psychological level of resistance or something like that. But when I'm day trading, like I don't even really need to know the price because I'm just looking at the technical signals. And I don't ever call myself this. I know Garrett Soloway says this a lot. He says, I'm a technician. And I love that term because it's like, I don't care what the price is. I'm looking at technical things. I'm a technician. I'm just looking for the signals and I'm looking to trade the candles, right? Whereas in my spot positions, obviously price is much more important, right? Because, if I'm day trading, I'm not necessarily, I don't necessarily care if this is a $30,000 Bitcoin or a $25,000 Bitcoin. All I care is that it broke the local range, right? Not necessarily focus on the actual number. So I just want to help people separate, just separate your long term from your short term, because I think a lot of people don't do that, and there's really no reason to FOMO into trades on, the only downfall of missing an entry on a day trade is like maybe you don't get into a trade that day, or maybe you just miss that one position, but it's not like you're missing out and you're never going to see that opportunity come again. That opportunity is quite literally going to happen a million times. So there you go. I just wanted to clear that up. I don't want to harp on that too long. But let's see. Yesterday's drop to like 30,200 was the entry. Yes, I was building IKEA furniture, so I missed it. Shout out to IKEA. But yeah, 30,000. Yeah, this drop down right here would have been a beautiful entry. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, you had nice bullish divergence, at least on the 7-minute, but there's probably a better signal here. But yeah, that like this is, I mean, even that would have been a nice entry. But yeah, right here, this retest, which this is what Darren's talking about. The retest of the POC would have been a beautiful, beautiful entry. But again, like you don't just want to see that and enter. You want to have the actual confirmations, right? So again, like if we're gonna break up here right now, like the place to enter is not on the green candles. It was down here. It was down here. So or it was really even down here. This would have been this was the level we were looking for to come down and for me to load up on a nice little swing long. Unfortunately, we were literally down here for like 14 seconds. So it was very hard to enter that position. So this was really like the entry that I would have been looking for. But again, very very hard to catch that actual entry. But as of right now, guys, nothing screaming to me get into a trade right now. If you take a look at the 4-hour, the 4-hour, guys, is really what I look at to kind of judge the environment, right? Like I wouldn't be looking for a savage scalp long right now if I know that the 2 and the 4 and the 3-hour are looking to print red dots very soon, right? And unless even the 1-hour is looking for a red dot, even if we get some kind of crazy blast out of nowhere to the upside, like that's not really going to be signaled on the charts. It's just going to push up. But let me check chat real quick. We could retrace to test the top of the bull flag. That would match up with the fib retracement from the dump to 29.5 and the POC of the old range at about 30,150-ish. Let me take a look at that really, really quickly. What'd you say? The retest of the of the pennant or the flag? Of the bull flag. Let's see. Interesting. Let me see this real quick. I mean, if you were looking at the flag, interesting. It depends on how you draw the flag. I know a lot of people like debate like what you should be looking at. But yeah, like right here, I mean, this is kind of bull flaggy. Boop, retest, bang, could come back down here. It's hard to say. I don't really look at patterns that often, to be honest with you guys. But yeah, the retest, like once you break out, the retest on the flag is something to look for as well. I don't see it quite lining up with the golden pocket. It's also very hard for me to do exactly what you guys say in chat. Sometimes it's hard to understand exactly what you guys mean. But the retest on the bull flag would not be a bad place to look. Let's see. 1-hour red dot possible on Biddy with money flow coming down. Let's check it. Yeah, looking for the red dot for sure. Money flow is generally coming down. You're kind of coming up here, but generally it is coming down. No div. You got like the slightest little div potentially here. Not really. I think this is actually invalidated. Yeah, not really a div, so to say. But you do have that red dot again, right? Like, so I would expect some kind of a potential cool off here in the immediate short term. Yeah, like right here, you do have the 45-minute div looking to print right now with the money flow coming out. Let's check these higher time frames. 10-hour, not really looking. Yeah, not looking for it. And again, like even the 12-hour also, like this would be a more comfortable short. You get that push back up to some higher prices. Boom, right? Maybe you come up here, maybe you come up higher to our other box here. But once you get those higher highs on your price action, you would be setting up for nice bearish divergences on the higher time frames, right? And when it comes to money flow coming up on these higher time frames, guys, like the 2-day, the 16-hour, the daily, all this money flow looking to come to the green, you're really not looking to fight against that too hard, right? So I would prefer for a bigger short to push up higher and then look to short those higher time frame divergences because they're more likely to give you a bigger move to the downside. How many waves will you go back when looking for divs? It completely depends, right? I think probably what you were looking at was this 1 hour, if I'm right, Death Burka. Total guess in the dark that this is what you were thinking of. But I would, looking for a div here. I just don't like cutting through candles, right? So basically, you might say like, well, hey, like momentum's kind of still generally coming down like this, and price action is still generally coming up like this. I don't love that we cut through this. We broke. I don't like that. It doesn't really. I don't like cutting through the candles essentially, right? So I wouldn't really pull it back from here. However, if your candles, let me go ahead and let me just get rid of the candles really quickly here. you know, if you had your price action doing something like this, where you had a high, right, and then a higher high, and then a higher high, and then a higher high, a higher high, higher high, I would pull that div through all those candles. But when you cut through like that, I'm not a big fan of that. Uh, but yeah, I mean, to each his own. I know like trading is one of those things where a lot of people consider it an art, not a science, right? So we talked about this with in the Discord chat last night with looking at your wicks or your bodies of the candles for your divergences, or when looking at CVD. When it comes to divergences, I really like to see the bodies, but it doesn't mean that I completely ignore the wicks. It's kind of a toss up. Wicks represent price action too. So you can look at both of them. 100% it is valid, but I know it's like a big debate in the trading world. People are like, you can't look at divergences with your wicks. It has to be the bodies or it has to be the wicks. I'm agnostic, right? Like, and this has done me very, very well in this space, being completely agnostic. I don't take an emotional or tribal stance. Or opinion on anything based off of emotion or just what I believe this because I believe this, right? Like, why not? I look at wicks and bodies. I prefer to see the bodies, but it doesn't mean that when I see divergence in the wicks that I don't look at it, right? Like sometimes you can miss moves if you're not paying attention to that stuff because everything in trading is situational. It's kind of one of those things that it would be debated between different people. If you ask me, I don't like when the candles break that divergence line of higher highs. But let's see. But yeah, something like that, right? Like if we came up here, yeah, it's hard to, it's kind of hard to say. Like this momentum wave would have to be much higher, right? And then if this price wound up wicking up into here, that could be kind of like a massive bearish divergence. So I don't really have a limit on the ways that I'll go back. It's just really how clean does the divergence look. And then obviously, really what you could just do is go up to a higher time frame. It's a lot easier to look at it that way. So if you're getting a super super long big this whole thing is a bearish divergence, if you come up to like the 12-hour, it might be like a more palatable divergence to look at rather than like hunting through all those waves. So I don't really have an amount of waves that I kind of have a limit for. But let's see. Shout out to Wick 589, my favorite Wick. That's right. Shout out to Wick 589. Wait until we tell him we were talking about him in premium. Shout out to Wick. We love Wick. But let's see. That's pretty much how I did it, Frankie. Let me see. That's pretty much how I did it, Frankie. I have just kept the flag in the same position as when you noticed it on TradingView. Okay, yeah, for sure. Yeah, so I guess it's kind of this one you're looking at. Who said that? Bryant. Let me see. Where are we going? Where are we going? Bullish flag. And then I think it was on, some of these higher time frames, or is the 6-hour that it really liked it on. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So you basically just kept it here. Okay. I gotcha. Let's see. Let me just extrapolate this line. Something like that. Yeah. And then, maybe that does come a little closer to that golden pocket you were saying too. Yeah. It's not, I'd like to see it a little closer there, but you never know. Yeah. No, I see that. And listen, just testing the flag too. If you could find a golden pocket with confluence, you're talking about this. You're talking about this move, aren't you? You're talking about that fib, aren't you? Let me know. I think you're talking about this fib. Yeah, you could easily. I mean, if you come wick down to that 786, tap that flag one more time. The problem, not the problem, but the one thing I do see here is if you come to a lower time frame and you are looking at that flag, I'm just going to draw the top end of the flag. I'm not going to draw the whole thing. Like the one thing that I would say is if you did have this as a flag, if you did have this as a flag, something like that, you could have potentially already hopped on and flipped it to support. So I don't know if we'll get lucky enough to get that bigger move down, but if we did, I think you do have the right idea there, Bryant, for sure. Tyler, thank you for this. He says, Unknown Bengali asks, how do you know a red or green dot will be printing before it prints? What factors make the dots appear? Just wondering. Thanks, G. Shout out to Unknown Bengali. We actually covered this on... I'm not saying like we covered this already. I'm just saying we talked about it on the last live stream, but I can show you real quick. Really, I believe what prints this. Now, I don't know this for a fact, but I do believe what prints the actual green dot. For me, what I do is I look at the VWAP, right? Because if you look at the VWAPs, yeah, it's essentially for me, I look at the VWAP crossover, right? Like every time that VWAP crosses over, you print that red dot. So as soon as that VWAP crosses over, you get that candle to print. That's usually when the red dot print pops up. But I believe the actual thing, if we're getting to the nitty gritty, I believe the actual thing is the crossing over of this white wave or this light blue wave into the darker wave. I believe it's that crossing of waves. Once that gets confirmed and the next candle prints, that's what prints the red or green dot. For me, and that is also essentially lined up with the VWAP crossover. So I look at the VWAP crossover, and you'll notice, if you mark out every VWAP crossover, like let me do, or at least the ones that I can get cleanly here, like one here, one there, one here. So cross down, red dot, cross down, red dot, cross down, confirm the candle, red dot. And then even the VWAP crossovers to the upside. VWAP crosses over, candle confirms, green dot. So I look at the VWAP crossovers simply. Again, I don't know exactly what the technical thing that triggers the dot to print. I believe it's the crossing of these waves, but I just look at the VWAP crossing over. Every time the VWAP crosses over, you get a red or green dot. I mean, that's just what happens. Yeah, guys, I do want to talk a little bit about our potential. And I really hate these environments, guys. Frank, don't get upset. Bengali missed that stream. It's okay, Bengali. It's okay, brother. It's okay. Shout out to Tyler Durden. Let's see. Darren has been upgraded from no soup to just some soup. Shout out to Tyler. Good soup. But anyway, shout out to my TikTok people. Good soup. What did I miss? Shout out to Zagon. I will be honest with you. Now I did technically stream for 2 hours here, except not every. I didn't hit the live button for the first 40 minutes. But I will say this right now, guys. I am in no position. But again, I will favor. And again, things are very, 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 very confusing, guys. I don't. And again, I'm very open about this, right? Like, I'm not going to come up here and tell you guys, listen to the money flow. Money flow never lies. I'm only going to tell you money flow never lies when I think it's in a position to play out. And I do think we are potentially in a position right now, again, comparing it to this situation back here where money flow was coming out on the 4-hour time frame, and that was indicating a move to the downside, and then we just squeezed up. I think we may be in somewhat of a similar situation here with that green dot printing, with that money flow coming up on the daily. So what I'm looking at right now, guys, is a potential. I would love, again, this does look like some bullish consolidation. This may rip, right? But if we're able to get another move to the downside, some key levels that I would really be looking at. Let me pull up a fresh chart here. I'll just pull these levels up fresh for you. And I mean, guys, if you've ever seen a bull pennant like this, that looks bullish to me. Just looking at the candles, this looks bullish. And that's not even taking into account the money flow and the daily green dot and all that other good stuff. Weekly money flow crossover, Zagon, sorry. That probably the biggest thing that you missed, which it's not really that eventful or technical. Money flow crossing over into the green on the weekly would be a very, very bullish sign. Daily green dot printing with money flow coming up, that would also warrant some more upside. So I would probably favor at this point, guys. I want to say I'm leaning a little bit more neutral because there are definitely mixed signals out there. I do think it's basically a crapshoot at this point. We're going to have to be looking at things like CVD, which we can look at in a second. But this daily's calling for more upside. So I would favor, right? I would favor a move up before looking for shorts, right? And then for a move up, if I'm going to enter a long position to get this, if we are going to break up and we're going to get that move, what I would look for is I would look for this 1 hour red dot. I would look for maybe the 45-minute bear div. 45-minute bear div. Yeah, if we get that bear div on the 45-minute, hopefully that can bring us down. And then I would look to long some higher lows. And then just to pull up kind of what levels I would be looking at for those higher lows, I will go ahead and I will pull a range here real quick. Let's go to the higher time frames. Boom. Let's pull this range. Pull some fibs. Let me come to the 4-hour. 4-hour. Yeah. Number one. Let me pull this. It's probably going to be the value area low. Yeah. Oof. It's hard to say, guys. It is hard to say. Let me turn on Lux Algo really quickly. See where the smart trail's at. Yeah, I mean, I would love. I mean, this is only going to work so many times, right? Like, we already came back down, right? Like, I don't know if we're going to be lucky enough to get a move back down to the range, but ideally, I would really like to come back down, closer to the bottom of this range, right? We have the smart trail coming up on that value area low. We also have that golden pocket in pretty nice confluence with the value area low. Also, our previous daily low is down there as well. So I would love to come back down here. If you could find a long entry there, that would be beautiful. But again, I don't know if we're going to be lucky enough to get that right now. I just don't know if we're going to get that move. But another clear level that I would be looking at to long a higher low would potentially be the value area high / previous daily high. Come back down, test these as support before getting another move to the upside. Yeah, and that's kind of what I would be looking at, guys. Like, even let me pull the fib here. I mean, you do have like, yeah, like these might be some of the levels, and like this is kind of a lot of levels to look at, but like even in there between the POC and the golden pocket, I will go ahead and mark these out with so you guys can actually see the prices. Boom. So these are kind of the levels that I would look at. Come down. I would look for long entries here, long entries here, long entries here. And obviously, I'll keep you guys updated in the Discord as price action develops. Thanks for checking that, Frank. I had pulled the fib from the low at 29.6-ish, but I will keep an eye on both areas and add to my long in case we blast off. There you go. But yeah, that's these are kind of the levels that I would be looking at. Again, like best level that I'd really like. I would really like to come down to some of these lower levels, and then just pulling back up market cipher here. I'll try to just decipher it for you guys. No pun intended. It's like 4 hour cooling off, right? Like we already got support on the zero line as we got this big candle. But this is rolling over. If we can get that 45-minute bear div, that 1 hour red dot, maybe we can start to get pushed to the downside a little bit more. But that's really what I would be looking at, guys. That is yeah, that's kind of what I'd be looking for right now. There's really nothing screaming. Start trying to fix my microphone, guys. Sorry. Okay. So yeah, nothing really screaming, enter a trade at this moment. Remember, you want to enter into with an entry signal. You don't just want to FOMO in because you think it's going up. So again, these are kind of the levels that I would be looking at to long higher lows. But very, very confusing here. I would favor, the daily is going to take time to play out potentially, right? That daily green dot, which is not printing on Heikinashi candles just yet, but it is on our regular candles, which is worth noting for sure. But yeah, 16 hours starting to cool off here a little bit. Very hard to say, guys. Very, very hard to say. This is a garbage market, to be 100% honest with you. But that's kind of what I would look for. If we can get that 45-minute bear div, that 1 hour red dot, that might start to leak into these hot medium hourly time frames. I do think that is where we will still see, at least if we are going to get that pullback, that is kind of where we'll see it. And then obviously as price action develops, if we do come down here, I'll keep you guys updated with the setups. Setups are kind of when they're not there, guys, they're not there, right? So that's why I give you the levels and I kind of let you know where I'm looking to get into positions, and then as the setups present themselves, that's where I put those setups in there for you guys with the actual trade tool on TradingView to give you guys those actual setups. But other than that, that's why this morning came in. I actually gave you guys really most of the levels last night, just because I happened to be a little bit more active last night. But like all these levels, guys, these are the levels we're looking to trade. Longs at the blue boxes, shorts at the purple boxes, and then the SFPs. Let's go over the SFPs really quickly. Let's see. Gonna push up here. There she goes. FOMO in, FOMO in. I'm just kidding, guys. Don't FOMO in. Like it could totally rip up here. But don't FOMO. Do not FOMO. No more FOMO. But let's go ahead and take a look at these SFPs really, really quickly on the kitchen chart here. Bada boom. All right, so we are hitting that SFP level. Let's take a look. We are pushing above this SFP level. So again, I would actually favor these two SFPs. I will be honest. Yeah, this is we could swing fail this, right? But I would favor these two higher levels. But again, for the SFPs, guys, you're looking for price to wick above, right? We swung fail it right here on the 2 hour. Let's check the 1 hour real quick. Yeah, we did swing fail this on the 1 hour. You came up, you close your candle below. and then you came down. That might have been your move down before getting this breakout to the upside. We could potentially swing fail it again, but I will be looking for the same thing up at this level at about $31,331, and then the SFP up here at about $31,473. Those are the next swing failures that I would be looking at. But other than that, guys, levels in the Discord right here are the trading levels for today. Again, longs at the blue boxes, shorts at the purple boxes, and then obviously the SFPs we can swing fail as well. I just don't put boxes on them because there's a lot of them and they would just get cluttered. But the SFPs, I always label them SFP because that's what you're looking at. And then we also have this pocket of SFPs. It's a pretty big pocket, but we have this bigger level of resistance, this purple box here, with an SFP at the bottom of it, and we do have some levels in between. But then you have an SFP at the top. If we come on over to the higher time frames, I'll show you kind of where those came from. So we are just looking at these wicks right here, right? So swing fail this wick. You have another wick very close to that, and then another swing failure at this wick right here. So that's kind of what I'm looking at, guys. I will keep you updated with the setups as they start to come in. But yeah, it's just, are we going to break up first or break down? Let's check out Coinalyze really quickly here. And then let me check chat real fast. Let's see. Unknown Megali said, do we have to get the paid version of TradingView to access MarketCypher B indicator, or can I just use my free TradingView account? I'm buying MarketCypher B this week at some point, so just wondered if I need TradingView Pro. No, I don't. No, I don't believe so. You should be able to use. You should be able to use it with a free account. Maybe double check that. I mean, I don't know for a fact, but I don't see you're paying for the indicator. I don't think you definitely don't have to pay for TradingView to use paid indicators. I can't say that with 100% certainty, but I think that would be silly. And I've used free version of TradingView before, and I've had premium indicators before. I don't remember ever having a problem. So yeah. But yeah, there you go. Hopefully that helps you out, Unknown Bengali. Let's see. Brian says, thanks to you for teaching us how to do TA. I did some basic TA on ADA last week, and the next day it came into my trap and rejected off a 786 retracement. Let's go. Shout out to Brian. Let's go, bro. Congratulations, man. And yeah, man, anytime. No need to thank me, bro. Like, it is, I love doing this. And the fact that I get to do this as a full-time job, like, I'm beside myself that I get to do this. And that's why I'm very that's why I care so much, right? That's why I like interacting with the chat and making sure people understand, especially with the premium Discord, like really interacting with you guys, making sure I dig into your questions and truly make sure you guys understand. I truly love this. So the fact that it actually helps you guys is it's amazing, right? Like, this is me achieving my goals. So I appreciate that, man. And keep crushing it, bro. Understand also that, like, you did that TA, right? You did the TA, and I don't know if you took a trade or not. You didn't mention it, but if you took a trade and you made some money, like, you did that, right? Like, I'm not there. I didn't do the TA on ADA. You did. I didn't pull the trigger. Even if I gave you the setup on ADA, if you took the trade and you made money, you did the hardest part of that trade. Let's see. Everyone FOMO. Hurry. Shout out to Matt. Bump it. Shout out to Unknown Bengali. Let's see. I'm going short because I already went short an hour ago at this level while schlonging it. Shout out to G Life. Darren says, I'm only considering 31.4 and 31.7 for shorts. Yeah, I believe that's yeah, like these shorts, these local shorts, like really, and that's kind of the idea, right? If we do get that push up, yeah, like here, like, ooh, baby, are we gonna get it? We could push up to some of those higher levels, like even up here, like that. Again, it kind of goes back to the daily, right? Like that daily bearish divergence setup. I would just wait to come to higher prices. We may actually push up right now. Let's do it, baby. Push her up. Give me the short setup. Give me the short. But let's see. Red dots looking to print on the 1 to 4 hour, possible bear divs on the 15-minute. Let's see it. Yep. Yeah. Oh, there she goes. She's pushing, guys. FOMO in. Buy now. I'm just kidding, guys. I don't even want to say that as a joke. Do not FOMO in. Even if this thing moons to 34K, do not FOMO in. Let's see. Yeah, you're limited to 3 indicators on the free version. Shout out to Caesar. Very good point. But if MarketCypher comes with MarketCypher A and MarketCypher B, also MarketCypher DBSI, MarketCypher support and resistance. So it has a lot of indicators, and you will be limited to 3. But if you're looking at MarketCypher B and MarketCypher A mostly like I do, you should be good with just those 2. Let's see. Back to my paddleboard. Thanks, Frankie, Deathberg, Tyler D, Jiu-Jitsu. Let's go, baby. Shout out to B Team Crypto. Yeah, you're on your paddleboard. I am actually a new paddleboarder. I just bought Mrs. Candles a paddleboard for Christmas, and we went out on her paddleboard, and I bought a $100 kayak at Walmart, and now I'm like, oh, this is awesome. I'm gonna buy a paddleboard now. So shout out to you, man. These small group question times are so important. Thank you. Shout out to Crypto Tutorial. Great. That makes me super, super happy that you find it valuable. It's the point of these things. And let's see, spot short squeeze again. Oh, baby. Let's pull up Coinalyze really quickly, guys. Let's pull it up. All right, let's see. Let's go to the 1 hour. Let's pull up. Oh, whoops, I did not want to save that. Let's pull up our enter. No. Frankie candles. There we go. Let's see. So what you want to see for these kind of short squeezes, guys, I could actually show you on the we can go up to a higher time frame. Really what you want to see is you want to see price moving around, right? Like typically in something like what we have right now, and you want to see price coming up, right? You want to see that price is trending to the upside. And shout out, guys, this is a free tool. This is a free tool available to everybody. I have no affiliate links or anything like that. This is just something I like to use. So I bring it up to you guys because I think it's helpful. But it's 100% free. And that's just coinalyze.net. And what you want to see for these is you want to see price coming up, right? On top of that, you also want to see your spot CVD coming up. And what that is basically telling you, and basically you want to see the divergence between your future CVD and your spot CVD. So let's pretend the spot CVD was coming up like this, and your future CVD is coming down like that, and let's say your price action is trending to the upside. This would be indicating that the thing moving the market up in this case, if your spot CVD is coming up, would be that, and if you know that all the traders are shorting, the only thing that could be pushing this price up is people buying on spot, which is represented by the spot CVD, right? So this would be showing us, and this is not necessarily the case, at least when looking at this time frame, but we would potentially we were seeing this on the higher time frames during that last short squeeze that I showed you guys an example of before. We were seeing massive it was a very clear short squeeze, and maybe I can go back and show you guys that. I don't know if Coinalyze will let me go back that far, but what you want to see is your spot CVD coming up with your futures CVD coming down. And again, what that is showing you is that people are buying on spot, but the futures traders are all shorting. Now, the reason this works is, and again, you also want to see your price trending to the upside. And again, what that shows is that spot buyers are pushing the price up, and the futures traders are just shorting into every move that it keeps coming up, and people are just shorting and shorting and shorting and shorting. But if price is continuing to the upside, eventually the spot buyers are going to push the price up enough, right? So let's pretend I've done this before. I'll do it again though for anybody new. Let's say people are looking at this as a range, right? So I'm just going to mark this out as a range. You have your highs of the range, you have your lows of the range, right? Bing bong, bing bong, bing bong, bing bong, right? If you're looking for shorts, there's going to be a lot of people shorting here, right? There's going to be a lot of people shorting the highs. Their stop losses are likely going to be right above the highs here, right? And then, again, I don't want to make it too messy here, but let's just say, there's a bunch of people shorting, and like look at all these stop losses, and boom, right? This is really what it would look like, is just like tons of people are shorting, up here at these highs, right? I know this is kind of ugly to look at. I'll actually clear it up. I'll make it a little more simple. But so you got people, let me actually make this a lot smaller, right? So you got someone short here, right? You got another person short here, another person short here. Maybe some people are short from down here. But for the most part, everyone's stop loss is going to be somewhere either above this resistance level or above these wicks right here, right? So what happens when the spot buyers are continuing to buy the price up and people are continuing to short and short and short? Well, eventually, if the spot buyers are able to push price far enough, what's happening right now? We're hitting everyone's stop loss, right? So you hit one person's stop loss, that creates a buy order, because when you get stopped out of a short, you create a market buy, which assists the move to the upside. That's what a short squeeze is. It's all the short people, well, not all the short people, all the people who are short getting stopped out and liquidated out of their positions, or maybe even just closing their positions, right? So once you start, the spot buyers are pushing that price up, stopping out this short, right? Then that pushes price up a little more, and then it stops out that short, and you get that cascade of short stop outs and liquidations liquidations, which pushes price to the upside. And that's why the short squeezes happen so aggressively. It's literally all these people getting their stop losses hit or getting liquidated, right? And that just adds fuel to the fire. So you can think of it as like adding gas to the fire. You trigger one person, causes the buy order, trigger another person, and then it's just like fuel to the fire. The more people getting stopped out, the higher price goes, and the more people that get stopped out until eventually you get to a place where there's no more short stop losses, right? And then it stops. So that is basically how those work, right? So I don't see it right here. And again, Darren might be looking at a lower time frame. But like on the 4 hour, we don't really have that happening, right? But if we did, that's kind of how you would spot it. And not only how you would spot it, that's the theory behind like what is actually going on in the market and why the price moves up so fast, right? It's like actually how it works. So, which is very important. I think like, I will say this, guys. It's really, to me, it's very important and very helpful to understand what is actually happening. Like, again, like people say short squeeze, but like how many people know exactly what that means, right? Like what is happening behind the scenes? Like we know a short squeeze means a big pump to the upside. And a lot of people know that it's like shorts getting wrecked, but like that's the actual theory of the people, like that's exemplified. Like the actual shorts getting stopped out is what causes that move up. And I think it's important to know that. But I do also want to say that it's not necessarily, imperative to understand that immediately to become a profitable trader. This is something that'll probably come over time for you guys. If you don't understand right now, this kind of stuff will come over time. So you can easily be profitable by just looking at candlestick charts. You don't necessarily need to know you don't necessarily need to know the theory of like what it looks like when all these people get stopped out, as long as you know that when your future CVD comes down and your spot CVD comes up and your price is trending to the upside, it usually indicates a short squeeze. You don't need to know exactly what's going on as long as you know what to look for on the chart, but it helps to understand the actual theory. And that's why I show you guys, what's actually happening to these traders, right? Like when someone says shorts getting wrecked, that's what they mean. They mean people getting stopped out and liquidated. And then basically that's how you find the short squeezes, right? And that's exactly how we were able to find it all the way back here. Oh yeah, baby, we could see it. Okay, so I'll just show you the example. And again, this is, this is what happened in this case, right? We had the same thing. Right, we had our range, right? We had our range right here, high, low, right? You know, bing bong, bing bong, bing bong, right? You didn't come. It was more of a pennant, right? So you didn't really come down to the lows here. But either way, you have consolidation, but what do you have here? What do you have here? You have your spot CVD almost throughout this entire range. More people are shorting than longing in this range, right? But and then what's happening to price? There are a lot of people shorting here. Everyone's shorting. It's very clear. And when you're looking at CVD, it's more important to know the direction. You don't have to really pay attention to the actual numbers. It's really just direction. Are you trending down or are you trending up? This is clearly trending down. So we know that throughout all this price action, there are more people shorting than longing. But what's happening? Price isn't breaking down. If there's more people shorting, why isn't price breaking down? It's actually not just not breaking down. It's actually trending up. So what's going on there? Like you might be thinking to yourself, like, well, it's everyone shorting. How is price moving up? Well, by looking at the spot CVD, you could see that we know why price is moving up, right? Because spot CVD is coming up. So this is letting us know that people are buying on spot, pushing this price up, and the futures traders are shorting and shorting and shorting. And as soon as we saw this, I was bearish biased in this entire range until we got like around right here, and I noticed, oh my God, everybody and their grandma is shorting this range. And we're not breaking lower. We're actually trending up. And the spot buyers are coming in here and starting to buy. So what is going on here? Same exact thing as we just showed. You have people short here, right? Bear with me. I'm going to take the time to actually, draw this out. You have people short here, right? I'm going to actually make this smaller, right? So you have people short from here. You also have people short from up here. You also have people short down here. And maybe even down here, and up here, and right here, and right here, right? So you have all these people shorting, right? And what happens when the spot buyers push the price up? Well, you're going to stop that guy out. That's going to boost price up. Well, now you're going to stop this guy out too. Okay, well, that's probably going to push price up. And now you're just triggering all these stop losses, and that's what causes that squeeze to the upside. Does that make sense? And that's what we're looking at to try to find these short squeezes. And this was very clear on a higher time frame, which is why we put that in the Discord before it happened. And again, I was bearish biased. I was biased for a move down because of what money flow looked like in this area. And we are seeing something very similar happen here. However, We don't necessarily, at least on the 4 hour, right? We have spot is coming down and futures are shorting. But even if you're not looking at the spot CVD, if you're just looking at future CVD here, guys, like this is how you can kind of interpret this stuff. Like you want to start to think again, like I just said, you really just need to know what to look for technically if you're an actual technician, but what you could be looking for here, it's important to understand what's going on because it can give you insight when the indicators are giving you mixed signals. So if I'm looking at this, even though our spot buyers are coming down, so we got a lot of people shorting, a lot of people not really buying on spot, at least looking at the 4 hour time frame, but price is moving up, right? So what I would be looking at here is just the fact that even though we're kind of trending up here, even though we kind of came back lower, we're basically ranging here, right? Slightly trending up. But we're also making lower highs as well, right? Or at least up until this point, we're kind of making an equal high here. But this gives you a lot of insight into the market. People are shorting this whole range. This whole range, there's more people shorting than longing. We're not breaking down. This, in my opinion, could also indicate absorption, just like we look for absorption on exo charts, right? Just like we look for, I actually haven't opened this on my computer. Okay, wow, this is still in real time. Okay, so just like on exo charts, right? If I come up to a higher time frame just to make it match, I'll take a look at the 4 hour. Just like on exo charts, when we look for price, when we look for the shorters, right? When we look for the bears to come in and push price down, but you can't break that level of support, we call this absorption, right? This is letting us know that there's probably a whale down here by these wicks with a bunch of limit long orders. And every time price comes down, he's filling his order, he's filling his order, he's filling his order. And that's represented by all of this bearish momentum. We can see that there was bearish CVD here. We could see that there was a lot of volume here just based off the dark colors, right? Not even looking at the actual zooming in and seeing that there was 100 or 446 million volume here with negative 32 million negative delta. But we could just see the sellers were here and they pushed the price all the way down, but we couldn't break the level of support, right? Like I moved this level of support like back up here, pushed it down, held the level of support, right? Look here, we have another dark blue and dark red box. This is showing that there were strong sellers here. Oh, that wasn't a low. This low here was another candle. Heavy volume, heavy negative delta, showing us that there were more people shorting than longing here, and it pushed price down, but we couldn't break that level. Right here, again, heavy negative delta. We broke down, but could not lose the level. We held the level. Same thing here. Look at the dark boxes. This is showing that sellers are strong at this level, and we couldn't break the level, letting us know that there's probably a whale here filling up some long orders, some big long orders. And when you see that, this is how you analyze a range, guys. When you see that there's, and you could, I'm not going to go through this because we're running out of time here in at least today's live stream, but you could do this in the opposite end as well. What I like to do is I like to come in here and I'll look at like, are we getting more absorption at the lows or are we getting more absorption at the highs? Because a lot of the time, if you have a lot more absorption at the lows, you could kind of assume that, hey, maybe if this is going to break the range, we will break to the upside because there's a lot of bearish absorption at the lows, right? And this is the same. We're looking at essentially the same thing, just in a different manner. The information is being represented just slightly differently visually, right? But we're looking at the same thing. These tools give you an insight into what is actually happening on the charts. And when we're looking at this, taking a look at exo charts, I will say, now I didn't actually analyze, all right, let's see where we have absorption at the highs. Like right here, you have a, well, not even really. Let's see, right here, this candle right here. This is a big candle. The buyers pushed us up and we got pushed back to the downside. But there wasn't that much bullish CVD. We got a big push up, but there wasn't heavy bullish CVD. So that's kind of like an hot, like that's kind of right? Like that's not really that convincing. What I like to see here, if I think we're going to get a lot of absorption on all of these highs, I want to see dark green boxes showing me that the bulls were really trying to push the price up, but we couldn't break that level of resistance. That would indicate a reversal to the downside. Does that make sense? Hit me with a hashtag value if this is making sense to you. You don't even really need to necessarily know what everything you're looking at here, but as long as you understand the theory of when you approach resistance and you're able to see and verify that there's a lot of buyers, as long as you understand the theory of understanding that a lot of buyers pushing price up and not being able to push through would indicate that there's something even more powerful than all of those market buyers pushing the price down and absorbing all those orders. Let me know if this makes sense to you, and it may take a few times being explained to understand it. And again, we're looking basically at the same information, but just displayed differently. So you could just see here, right? Like there's not a big dark green box here, right? So like that's what I would want to see here. So this is not really that strong. We had a lot of volume, but there was no bullish CVD. There were still more people shorting than longing here. Now let's look at another high. Like right here you had a decent bit of positive delta, but your volume's not that dark of a box. It's only 101 million. Whereas at the lows, we have almost 200 million here, right? It's almost double what you have here. So that's showing me that the strength is really on the lows. And again, this is one more time. This is almost exactly what you're looking at here. You're just looking at a range, and you're knowing that more people are shorting than longing throughout most of this range could indicate that it's going to break to the upside. Now, it's not just as easy as pointing this stuff out and then just knowing it's going to break up. But these are just some of the things you can look at, especially Coinalyze. Again, exocharts and even Trading Light, I think it's called, is what Darren uses. They're the same thing, just different softwares, slightly different features. But those are paid. Coinalyze is 100% free. So if you're looking to get a free, no barrier to entry look into what the traders are actually doing, I highly recommend checking out Coinalyze. Again, I have no reason to push you there. I don't have a commission or affiliate or not affiliated with them at all. It's just a free way to be able to get similar type information. So there you go. I don't want to harp on that too long. Let me pull up chat really quick. Let's see. Subscribe. Market makers use spot buys to counter trade, not just whales. Yep. Shout out to Darren. Frankie, I use a spot volume indicator that helps spot it. Interesting. I've named the indicator above. Oh, okay. Interesting. I'll have to go back after the stream and get the name of that and check that out, Darren. That sounds interesting. But let's see. Let's see. Pumping again. Coming close to the next SFP. Why can't we see the limit order? Death Burka. Very, very good question. Now, wouldn't it be overpowered if you could see where those limit orders are? Now, really to see those limit orders, Darren actually said that Trading Light. Now, I use exocharts, not Trading Light, but I will say this. Apparently, Trading Light has a heat map that will show you, try to tell you where those limit orders are. You could also look at things such as Bookmap to find out where those orders might be. I don't think any of them are foolproof 100%. Like it's not going to be. It's just going to be another piece of information you can add. Definitely would be extremely helpful if you could see them. But exocharts only shows you market orders, not limit orders. But again, that Bookmap or Trading Light. I know Bookmap because I use Bookmap, but apparently, according to Darren, Trading Light has a heat map that will kind of put horizontal levels where those limit orders might be. Again, doesn't mean that just if there's a limit order here, you're immediately going to reverse to the downside, but it would be really, really interesting because you're right. When I talk about where these whales have their limit orders, they're invisible to us, at least on exocharts and TradingView and Coinalyze, right? But if you're looking at something like Bookmap, if you guys are not familiar with Bookmap, let me see if I could just we actually have in the dining room we have a 24-hour Bookmap stream, so you guys can check out where all that liquidity is for free. You don't have to buy Bookmap, but basically, now I'm not a huge Bookmap guy. Like I don't claim to be an expert on Bookmap. I'll be open about that. I don't look at it that often, but it is. I'll show you kind of how it looks once it loads, so you can kind of see what it would look like. I think it's very similar looking on Trading Light as well. But again, it's just understanding the kind of what is going. Kind of what is going on behind those candles, right? So I'm not even gonna set this up legitimately. I just want to pull it up so you guys can kind of see what it looks like. Let me see. Oh, is it gonna break? Hopefully it doesn't break. Okay, so this isn't even Bitcoin. This is just like I'm not even logged in. So this is basically what is going on here. So basically, this is what like the liquidity heat maps look like. So those big orders will kind of show up as these big red lines. So imagine, right, like you have a range here between this order and this order, and you know that this is a much bigger order because you could see, you got like typically, again, this is not my settings or anything like that. And again, I'm not a big bookmap guy, but typically the darker, depending on what settings you have here, the darker orders are the bigger orders, and then the lighter the order, the less important the level is, if you will, or the smaller the order is. So you would expect, if price is coming up here and you're seeing a lot of absorption up at these highs, you could expect rejections at these levels potentially. And again, it's not as easy as just seeing that limit order and shorting as soon as you get there. It's a little bit more tricky than that, but it would be nice to be able to see those actual limit orders when looking at all this stuff. So let's see, it's an extra confluence, but still go with CVD, delta, etc. before considering the heat map. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's not like I don't want anyone thinking like it's as soon as you get to that limit order, that's the whale short, and you're going to hop on and absolutely dump. But yeah, Darren said it perfectly. It's an extra confluence. You're still looking at everything else. It's just that extra puzzle piece. If you got a bunch of those bearish CVD puzzle pieces lined up, and then you see like, oh, there's a lot bigger of an order up at the highs than there is at the lows. There's more liquidity at the highs. That might be kind of where that bigger order is. So absolutely. But yeah, okay. Let's see. ETH, we could take a look at ETH. Took the short for 8%. Let's go. Shout out to Brian. Let's go. Can't win them all. G Life said he got stopped out of a short. Can't win them all. Absolutely, brother. I got stopped out quite a bit last week. Yeah, just kept. Sometimes you get stopped out. It's not a big deal. So let's try to dig into what's going on here. This is the 4 hours. Not what I want to look at. Let's go down to a lower time frame. All right. Well, I guess I'm live for 3 hours today, guys. Tony, you missed it. Tony D just walked in. You missed it. I went live for 40 minutes and didn't click go live on YouTube. So very nice. I was talking to myself. Oh God. But anyway, guys, I apologize about that, guys. I can't believe it's so embarrassing. You guys were probably like, where is this guy? I'm just like over here thinking I'm doing good. Like, oh, check out whatever. But here, I mean, even here, now, yeah, you did get some absorption here on the 15-minute. 27 million in volume. How do I know this is a decent bit of volume? Well, look at the relative volume. 3, 1 million, 3 million, 2 million, 5, 5, 5, 3, 4, 14, and then these were much bigger. But what happened? Big dump to the downside. 16 million. Well, not even. This 28 million was to the downside. But yeah, as we come back down, there we go. But look, there you go. That's kind of what you're looking for. You can look at this, even in the shorter term, right? Like if you're getting a big candle here, right? Like I'm not saying to just trade candle to candle, but if you got a big green candle here and like, hey, there's a lot of volume here, decent bit of positive delta, couldn't break that level of resistance that I'm looking at, right? Like say you have a level of resistance up here, might be ready to kind of reverse to the downside, right? Like just in general, even if we are going to continue up here in the meantime, it could be a top signal, right? And it's kind of how you can see if you have, strong lows or weak lows, right? Like if you have a low and there is a massive, massive amount of volume and a massive amount of bearish CVD, right? Like I wouldn't call this massive bearish CVD, but like right here, you got this long wick. Your value area is in your candle, in your wick. Your POC is also in your wick, basically creating a key level, right? When you see your POC in the wick here, it's a center. We'll get into this on Friday's live stream. I'll try to explain this, but this POC in the wick is essentially creating a key level. So if we came back down to this level, I would expect some kind of a response off that level. But when you see a big candle like this, 53 million. When was the last time we had 53 million in volume on the 15-minute on one candle? 1.8 million, 4, 4, 2, not even a million, not even a million, not even a million, 2 million, less than a million, less, 2 million, 1 million, 1 million, 1 million, 2 million, 1 million, right? And then you see 52. Clearly, there was a lot of downward pressure here, but we could not crack that level. When you get the volume, value area and POC in your wick, that is a little bit of a confirmation that you're likely going to start trending to the upside. And what happens, you get an immediate shot to the upside, put in a bit of a higher low here, at least on the wick, and then you continue to the upside, right? A little turbulent, but you did continue to the upside, right? And they're just continuing. So there you go. Hopefully you guys find that valuable. Let me pull up chat really, really quickly. Makes sense, but do I understand CVD slash, makes sense, but I do understand CVD and absorption, hashtag value. Shout out to Darren Does Things. Let's see. Emax says, my key level isn't working. Limit order trading light do spot. Likely they do. Um, do spoof like they do in Bookmap. Yeah, yeah. yeah. It's not 100%. Like Darren followed up. It's just Confluence. You're looking. You're looking at positive delta for shorts and negative delta for longs. Yes, Tanner, 100%. I know it seems backwards, but once you understand the theory behind it, it makes sense, right? So if I want to see if this is a strong level of resistance, if there's a whale filling up a short order here, I want to see the strongest bulls. I want to see a ton of bulls go attack that level. And if they get rejected, I'm thinking like, well, hey, if they couldn't break through that level, it's probably going to reverse, right? So you have that exactly right, even though it sounds backwards. Tyler said, I text Tony the whole thing while he was on Blockchain Basement. That's hilarious. They all laughed. Sorry. It's okay, Tyler. It's all right. Just a crazy guy scream talking in his office. People are probably like, he's probably not even talking to anybody. Basically, but you do have basically that, but you have to have POC in the wick and traders trapped above or below the wick. Yes, Darren. Hey, Frankie, how do you keep yourself from getting burnt out on looking at the charts? I don't. Shout out to Nathan. Sometimes I push myself a little too far and then I get sick. Actually, that's basically how it happens. I look at them until I can't see anymore. And then I usually go on a pretty good spurt for a few months, and then I get sick because I don't want to stop, so my body basically makes me sick, and I get stuffy, and I have a cold, and then I get a fever, and then I'm sick for like 2 weeks, and I'm like, okay, maybe I should stop forcing myself to look at the charts and live stream. Let me take a couple days off, and then I relax for a couple days, which is really hard for me to do. And then finally, after I take a break, I then realize how important it is for me to take breaks. So it's actually interesting. I like that you asked that question, man, because that's something that I'm actually dealing with right now. I'm trying to work on is you got to know when to step away from the charts and take a break, because I didn't do that for the first year that I had this channel, and it eventually did catch up with me, and it got a little scary because I started to get a little burnt out, and I was able to take a break, and I finally was like basically forced to take a break from very good people around me. Shout out to Tony D. And then I eventually realized that it's important to take breaks. So now I'm trying not to do that anymore, and I try to take a little bit more breaks. Like on the weekends, I try to chill out a little bit more and not look at the charts as much and not be as active. That way, I don't burn out during the week. So yeah, I'm actually working on that. So it's really hard. It's really hard. Yeah, Tony D said, who would have knew? You need a break once in a while. So yeah, I do struggle with that. But really, you know what it is? You just got to make time for friends or significant others. Like, just take some time, right? Like sleep with your phone out of your room if you have to. I'm in a little bit of a weirder situation because I have a YouTube channel and like, I post TA. I got to make sure if my TA gets completely invalidated, I got to update people. So, but yeah, it's really about balance. But I will tell you, I am still definitely working on that part of my career. That's for sure. Let's see. No problem, Tanner A. I got you, brother. Panda Storm said, I've been in a month break, barely looking at the charts. Panda Storm, I'm telling you, sometimes that is what you need, especially if you're having a rough week, a rough month. Definitely recommend taking a break and walking away and just coming back with fresh eyes, because a lot of times, like, what happens to me when I start to burn out is it's very clear. Now I know the signals. When I start to burn out, I look at the charts and I look at the charts all the time. I understand the charts inside and out. And sometimes I'll just wake up, look at the charts, I'll be like, what am I looking at? I'll draw support and resistance, and it just all looks like mush to me. And that's how I know I'm getting tired and I need to take a break and go refresh and let the charts reset, let my brain reset, and then come back with fresh eyes. And it's crazy how it works wonders. It's absolutely insane. Darren says, I'm with you, Frankie. I don't trade weekends or when I go on vacation as such. Yeah, Darren, absolutely. Yeah, 100%. And it's something, we are addicted. You can pull up your phone, check the price of Bitcoin. It's really, really hard. And I think it also really comes down to understanding that, like, Bitcoin can move. If Bitcoin pumps to $2,000, I'm about to go record a video, and if I come back and Bitcoin pump $2,000, am I going to feel like I missed out? Yes, but I know I didn't. So, I'm not going to stress out over it, right? Thank you, Frankie. I'm feeling more relaxed psychologically, not FOMO into trades, but still selfish in the trade. Hitting my TP. Yeah, don't get greedy. I think that might have been what you meant. Don't get greedy. That is, I always say this on my live stream, is the number one thing I struggled with when I started trading, was getting greedy and holding on to my trade for way too long to get every last penny out of it. And I would have been profitable probably a year earlier if I just took the money that the market gave me, right? Like, because I started with a small account, right? So I was expecting, just like everyone else who starts to trade at first, they want to get rich overnight. So I was waiting to catch the bottom and have Bitcoin rip to 100K on 50x leverage, and I was going to get rich off $50. That's just not how it works. If I were to take that $15 profit, that $20 profit, maybe that one good trade where I made like $100, if I took all those and slowly grew my account and my position size naturally grew over time, I would have become profitable way sooner, rather than moving my take profit up consistently every time price went up to it, trying to squeeze every last dollar, and then it just reverses on me. I get liquidated or stopped out. So yeah, that's great that you're learning that, and it's good that you're able to realize, things that you're learning, because that's all part of it. Like, you want to be able to see something you're doing wrong to correct it. If you don't know you're doing something wrong, you can't correct it. Let's see. Been here since the second month of the channel. Got a lot on my plate with welding and raising my 4 young children, but you make learning the charts fun and easier than it was a year ago. Shout out to Brian. I appreciate that, man. That's kind of what we try to do. I try to simplify things and not overcomplicate things, right? Because I think a lot of people overcomplicate TA, and that's what scares everybody away. So just like and again, I think like the simpler you keep it, the easier, right? KISS, like back from elementary school. Keep it simple, stupid. But yeah. Same. It looks like gibberish when I'm burnt. Yeah, absolutely. Like, and it's funny. I was talking to Mrs. Candles. I'm like, how? I told her, I said, I don't know what's going on with me. Like, I'm like I look at the charts. I don't even know what I'm looking at anymore. Like, it's all mush to me. I have no idea what's going on. And she's like, well, yeah, you have bags under your eyes. You haven't slept in 2 days, and you've recorded 16 videos in the last week. Like, maybe take a day off, because I used to not really take off the weekends like I used to, and then I got sick. And then TJ, shout out to TJ from BitBoy Crypto, he told me, he said, listen, man, he's like, you're sick. Your body's trying to tell you to chill out, dude. Like, take a couple days off. Like, it's okay. You're like, your YouTube channel's not going to go to zero. Calm down. And I did. I took that advice. I took a couple days out. I actually went paddleboarding with Mrs. Candles and just laid on the lake for like hours, just baking in the sun, thinking about nothing. And it did wonders for me. Completely fixed it. And then I am still really struggling to know when an entry is clear versus unclear. I'm often entering too early, wicked out, then trade goes in my direction. When the signals, when is a signal enough to enter? Crypto Totoro. First off, very, very, very common. So don't think that this is happening to you because there's something you don't understand. This is a very common thing. It's like probably one of the biggest things people tell me. Like, my TA usually winds up being right, but I get wicked out first. Very, very hard to avoid. With the stop hunts are basically designed to do that. They figure out where everybody's longing, and then they just stop hunt you, get everybody out, and then you think it's reversing, and then it just winds up going the direction you thought. This is very common, but I will say this: it's kind of hard. And I think the best way to understand this is over time, right? Sometimes we get into trades and the signals are very clear. I got a bear div on the 15-minute, money flow coming out, red dot, as well as whatever other confirmations we're looking for. Sometimes it's just like 1, 2, 3 confirmations checked off down the list. That's it, right? And then sometimes it's not as clear, right? Like sometimes your price front runs your level, right? Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it maybe you're looking for a rejection at this level. This is, for example, this is an SFP, so we would have to break that. We'd have to tap that level for that to be valid. But if this is just a random level of resistance, price might we might be looking for a bear div into this level, but price might give you the bear div right here and just nuke you to the downside from here. You might front run that level. So short answer, sometimes you're going to get stopped out and miss the trade. And some trades are a little harder to confirm than others. But what you really want to do is have your system, right? Now, yeah, it's kind of hard to say. We're really struggling to know when the entry is clear versus unclear. Yeah, sometimes the entries are unclear. Like right now, this is a much less clear bearish divergence on the 15-minute. Because look at your money flow, right? Like, now this doesn't mean that you're not going to reverse from here. But for example, right, if you're hitting a key level, say you're tapping a key level right here, right? And this is the level you're looking for, and you get your higher highs on price, you have your lower highs on your momentum waves. That is simply, I mean, that is definitely a bearish divergence, and maybe you're looking to ride this down to this purple box, just for example. This isn't the clearest trade, right? Because most of the time when you're looking for a bearish divergence on the 15-minute, you're looking for money flow to come out. Money flow is actually coming up right now. Now, again, it doesn't mean it's not going to play out, but this wouldn't be the clearest trade, right? Whereas, for example, here, right, let's just pretend price was a little bit like this was actually a little bit more clear, right? Now, you front ran your level. You didn't come up to your level. We may have had a different level down here. I don't remember. Again, I'm just doing this as an example. But let's say you have a key level right here, right? I'm just going to mark this out. Let's say you have a key level right there. And let's say you have price coming to the upside and you have momentum coming to the downside, right? So that's your bearish divergence. But what else do you start to have, right? Your money flow at the printing of this red dot is starting to round off, right? And then if you waited for the candle to confirm, you would see that your money flow is starting to leak out, right? And it all looks a lot different in practice, right? So it's very easy to go back and be like, well, look, this played out, right? It's a lot harder. I want to be very clear. This is a lot harder to call in real time. That's why sometimes my job gets a little stressful because it's really easy to go back and be like, oh, like I knew we were going to bounce here, or I knew we were going to get this divergence. But posting that stuff in the Discord is a little bit hard, right? Like, because it's like I hope I'm right. You know, I don't have the benefit of hindsight in my, I'm not calling it after it happens. I'm trying to call it before it happens. But you can see here, right? So you have your bearish divergence. You can see money flow is coming up. It could be coming to a peak here. This is what I usually think, like, hey, this could roll over here. You're not even printing your red dot. Boom. You start to print your red dot. You're starting to round over here, right? Now you can go to your lower time frames. Look at the 12-minute. Is your 12-minute money flow starting to come out? Not quite, but you're only just now printing the divergence. Let's come down to the 7-minute. Okay, money flow is coming out on the 7-minute now. So this is likely going to leak into those other time frames, right? So if you could enter on, it really depends trade to trade. But for this one, I see that money flow is starting to peak over here. I have a 15-minute and a 12-minute bearish divergence. I have money flow even on the 10-minute starting to come out. This could be a good sign that, this might be the peak of that 15-minute money flow. And then obviously we know even here, right? Like you could have gotten another chance. You could still even enter this trade right here. Money flow starting to round off a little bit more. What's your 4-hour doing? Do you have look, VWAP on the 4-hour starting to come down here. Money flow coming down on the 4-hour as well. Go back to the 15-minute. All right, so now I know if I get a good entry here and we come down a little bit, even if we get a retracement, that 4-hour red dot's probably going to print soon anyway, which is going to help the move down. And then obviously we know that the money flow was coming out here. And there you go. That's probably what you're talking about right here. I personally wouldn't have gotten stopped out of that trade. My stop losses are a little bit more liberal than that. I don't really, and again, it depends. Some of my trades have much tighter stop losses. Some of my trades don't have looser stop losses. But my stop loss probably would have been something like this, like something right above this wick. So I wouldn't have got stopped out there, but that is definitely a candle that could stop you out on a hunt there. But now you have money flow crossing over into the red. Do we have the red dot on the 4-hour? All right, it's getting very close. It's getting very close to that red dot on the 4-hour. But money flow is crossing over on the 15-minute, so you're expecting potentially to come a little bit lower. Again, the target here is, just random. I'm just, it's just an example. But that's an example of a much more clear bearish divergence because you also had money flow coming out on the lower time frames. You had your 4-hour red dot looking to print almost at the same time as your money flow crossover, and then boom, there's the play out of that trade, right? And again, if you come to the 4-hour now, that red dot's probably there. Confirmed, right? So that's basically what you did is you got a beautiful entry in at the top. So you basically got to ride down this whole red dot and you were in before the red dot even printed, and then boom, right? Does that make sense? Hopefully I explained that well. But then that's just a simple case of like that divergence was much more clear than something else that might pop up. Some divergences won't be that clear, right? I think we were looking at the current price action was what we were looking at just now. But yeah, like right now you have money flow coming up and look, your red dot disappeared as you continue to push up higher. So again, that might be why you get stopped out right there. First off, the divergence wasn't confirmed. I don't know if you're entering before confirmation, but Red dot didn't confirm. Money flow was coming up. So that's not the strongest short. And what happened? You pushed up higher. So if you did enter in on that with the wish-washy money flow, that's and then let's see. I don't know. Hopefully this works out. Doesn't yeah? See, look at you come down to lower time frames. Money flow's coming up here, right? So it doesn't mean that that divergence won't later print, right? Like we could wind up printing the divergence now, but the reason why that might be a little bit more of a wish-washy trade was because money flow wasn't on your side, whereas back here money flow was coming out here and on the lower time frame. So it is going to be a little different. And again, like sometimes you can get in on a wish-washy trade and it plays out. But hopefully hopefully that answers your question. I forgot who even asked it. Crypto Tutorial, let me know if that helps you out, bro. Let's see. Being around water will regenerate you. It's a good habit to do. Shout out to Pandastorm. It's weird because I did feel like laying on that lake did wonders for my brain. Tony D said there's a science to it. Interesting. Okay, yeah. I will say there was something about that water that I got back to work and I was like, I don't know. All I did was I just took the weekend off. I took 2 days off. I think it was a holiday weekend, a Sunday and a Monday. Oh, Tony D said it could be because I'm unfamiliar with water in general. If you guys watch the YouTube show, the show on YouTube, you will know that I struggle drinking as much water as I should. So yeah, it could be that too. But yeah, interesting. So I'm gonna double down on that. Maybe that's interesting. I also like to. I don't want to say anything that YouTube doesn't like. But we do live in Georgia, where we have a lot of fun laws that allows you to release stress in really cool ways that involve targets, if you know what I'm saying. That's fun to do as well. Let's see. How many times will you enter a trade when getting stopped out? Shout out to Death Burka. Also, very, 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 very. What am I looking? What's the word I'm looking for? I'm blanking too. Situational, very situational. But sometimes, like on INJ, a long time ago, actually, I think it was in trees in the Discord. I was looking for shorts on the on INJ, and I just got stopped out, re-entered, stopped out, re-entered, stopped out. Really, what it is I have areas where a trade is invalidated, right? So I have areas where it's like, hey, this trade is invalidated, right? And a lot of times, right? So let's say I'm going to go back here. Let's say I'm looking to short a lower high. So let's say I pull my fib, right? Let's go into bar replay mode. I mean, I can't, it just worked out perfectly. We took this trade, so I'm familiar with it. But, as we, right? So I pulled my fib from the high to the low. You would want to wait to know that you're getting, right? So my fib is pulled from the high to the low, right? And now I'm waiting to approach my golden pocket for a potential short opportunity. So I get, oh God, of course it plays out that quickly. But let's just say you come up here and you start testing this level. Now, I will be looking for short confirmations between the 786 and golden pocket. But for me, if I get stopped, if I put a trade in here and I have a tight stop loss and it wicks me out and we push up to the 786, I may look to re-enter on the 786. But if we flip that 786 to support, now in my eyes, this trade is the trade idea is invalidated and I do not re-enter. So typically I have and I do say this in the Discord if there is a clear invalidation point. So, a lot of times on retracements, if we break the 786 and flip it, that is an invalidation. I will not look to re-enter that trade until we come up to another level of resistance. But if I get stopped out at the golden pocket and I know that I had a tight stop loss and there's a chance that we can run for the 786, I might re-enter. Right. So it's all about, having your plan and your idea and also putting a line in the sand and where that trade idea is invalidated. And I do say that if there is a clear invalidation point, I do let you guys know in the Discord. I'll try to do it a little bit more often as well, just so you guys can learn. Let's see. Shout out to Emax. He said, Frankie, I am using free market cipher B. Seems difficult to find a div. Bull and bear Emax. So I say this all the time. There's a lot of clones out there for Market Cipher, and I will say this: they are not useless. They are different though, right? They are not exactly the same. More specifically, money flow. I'm actually shocked you're having trouble with the divs. Money flow is a lot different. Not a lot different. Money flow is definitely different though. Market Cipher A signals are definitely different as well. A lot of people will say like, hey, I don't have that divergence on my chart, or hey, I don't have that blood diamond. What's going on? And then I wind up asking them, like, what indicator are you using? And they say that it's one of the clones. And again, it's not to say that you can't use those or they don't work at all. They're just different than Market Cipher B. So I don't know exactly what indicator you're using, but that's probably why if you're seeing differences between my chart and your chart, it's because they're not exactly the same. So shout out to Emax. Hopefully that helps you. Crypto Tutorial said, I'm not saying I'm shamed. But you are describing my issue far too accurately. Back to bar replay mode for practice. Thank you, sir. Shout out to Crypto Tutorial. And I want to be clear, bro. It actually makes me happy. The reason I'm able to describe your problem to a T is because I was in your shoes once. I was you. I was in your position. I made the exact same mistake, which hopefully is motivating to you. Because a lot of people, I think, have these problems and they're like, this isn't for me. No. I had the exact same problem you did, and that's proven by how I'm able to describe your situation so accurately, and I made it out, right? So just take that for what it's worth. You're doing great, Crypto Tutorial, and yeah, bar replay mode, guys, is your best friend. It is a risk-free way. You don't have to even paper trade on an exchange. Just, guys, one of the biggest things that changed the game for trading for me was bar replay mode, right? Now, I don't know, this is LDO, so maybe don't do it you could do it on anything, really. Go into bar replay mode, make sure on regular candles, because it doesn't work on non-regular candles. Go to bar replay mode, go to a random point in history, and watch the price action. Go to a different time frame. Go to whatever time frame and say, this is the live market. Let's see. We'll do some TA. This is what I would do on LDO if I was doing this, right? All right, I got lows down here. I got highs generally up here. Let me pull some range here, see where the value area is. Boom. Value area high, value area low. What's going on right now? Boom. We're at the low of the range. I don't have a bull div. Well, I do have a bull div confirmed right here. No bull div here. But let me just for the sake of this argument, guys, let me cheat a bit here. Let me go back to where I know there's a setup, right? So I pull some levels. I'm not going to go all into it, but you pull a level, pull some fibs, see where your support is, right? Maybe you go from this low to that high. That didn't really do anything. But let's just say you're kind of looking here. You know your value area low is here. You have lower lows on your price action. You have higher lows on your momentum waves, right? So I have a bullish divergence. Money flow is kind of flat here. So let me see. Well, Frank always says, if I see this, go down to the lower time frames and see what money flow is doing. Well, hey, 15-minute money flow is actually curving up here. Green dot. I know when the 15-minute money flow crosses over into the green, if there's a green dot at the same time, sometimes that's a big move. Okay, VWAP's coming up on the 4-hour. That would be in line with my trade. All right, well, let me see. And just long story short here, guys, is you could go ahead and use the long and short position tools, right? You don't even have to paper trade on an exchange, and you go ahead and enter the position and say, where would I take this up to? Let me see if I could ride this up to the value area high. And let's see if it plays out. Where would I put my stop loss? Well, this is actually where you could try to learn how to avoid stop hunts, because if you do this enough and you get stopped out of these fake trades enough, you'll start to notice a pattern of when it happens and how to avoid it. And it's sometimes things that you can only learn through experience. And thanks to TradingView and bar replay mode, you could do this an infinite amount of times, guys. I can't tell you how many hundreds of hours I've sat on TradingView and just gone like, okay, this would be a trade setup. Let me see if I can do it. See if it plays out. Well, I didn't know it was going to play out that slow. And oftentimes you'll have to extend your trade tool, right? And then you watch it, see if it plays out. Just let it play. Come on. Oh my God. Either stop me out or play out here. There we go. Oh, come on. So close. Oh my God. We do not want to get stopped out of this one. Geez, this was a horrible example. I just wanted this to be quick, guys. Jeez, this might be the world's longest trade. And sometimes this is a perfect example, guys. There we go. Okay, and then I'd be like, "Oh my God, I'm an idiot. I suck at trading," or what have you. Oh, actually, let me see something. Yeah, let me see something real quick, guys. I didn't have the volume profile extended, but It would have moved. It would have moved our take profit. You probably would have won that one in all seriousness. But either way, it doesn't even matter. I would have seen this and been like, "Oh my god, I suck," and then I would have gone ahead and I either keep this in to see the loss, leave the loss so I know that I lost that one, or I would delete it, right? And then I keep going. All right, so we broke the range. Let me see. I don't really see a setup here yet. Let me see if I can get a setup, right? And then, like, this is how you practice, right? And you can do this infinitely on so many different assets, any coin you want. Right now, we're getting a bullish divergence here on the 15-minute. Let me see if see our 2 hours coming up. 4-hour VWAP starting to come up. And again, like, I'm not really looking at confirmations or legitimately trading this. I'm just using it as an example, right? You see a setup, say, enter the position, set your stop loss, set your take profit, and then you just let it play out. And then you get stopped out again, or you win the trade. And then you're like, what did I do wrong on that one? And it's a long road, and a lot of practice needs to take place here. To learn. But this is one of okay, I won that one, right? Like, what did I do right? What looked different? This is how I learned. I am all self-taught, right? So this is basically how I learned. And this is there is nothing like running through price action, hours and hours of price action, to really understand how this market moves. It's one of the biggest game changers, other than the volume profile, that has happened in my career. Like, doing this is imperative for your career. It's like the biggest thing. If you really want to learn this, go hit the trenches, right? Like, these are the trenches. Like, dig into a coin and test strategies and test 3 losing strategies in a row. Don't get frustrated, and then test a 4th strategy and then lose that one, then find out that one's not profitable. Luckily, there's people like me, there's YouTube, there's profitable strategies out there that a lot of people use, so you don't have to make up your own strategies to finally find one that's profitable. You can always go off what other people are using. It works, but go back and back test them. This will teach you a lot about how the market moves and how to avoid those stop hunts, and stuff like that. So, and then again, also one more time before I hop off, I am really going over time here, but I don't mind doing it. Another thing you can do here is all trading, or I think it might be only paid trading view accounts, but if you come up here to your trading panel, you can actually connect paper trading, right? And you hit connect, and then hit connect. Hopefully I don't dox myself here. And they give you $100,000, right? They give you $100,000 of fake money, and then you can go ahead and if you wanted to enter that trade, if you wanted to keep track of them easier, you can go into bar replay mode, right? And let's say you're looking at here, and you're like, okay, cool, I want to enter a short here. You can go ahead and right click. Am I blind? What is going on? Why can't I? Hold up. Let me trade up. Trading pattern. Oh, yeah, here. Open up the trading panel, which is this up and down arrow. You could usually do it by right clicking. I don't know why. Visual order. Yeah, I don't know why it won't let me do it from here. But you would go sell, right? And then you add, whatever you want. How many units? I guess this is LDO. I mean, I don't know. We'll just say 50 for random sake. And then you hit sell. And then boom. Now, oh wait, no, sorry, that was a limit order. I would go to market 50, right? You can set your take profit stop loss, and then hit sell. And did it work? Can you not do it in bar replay mode? Oh yeah, you can't do it in bar. You can't do this in bar replay mode. I would use the trade tool like I just showed you, but this is a good tool to do in real time, right? I think it only works on real time. Yeah. So there we go. I entered the short, and then it shows you your position right here. You can drag your take profit and your stop loss. Maybe you're going for $1.75. I don't know if that's worth the trade. And then you can set your stop loss, right? And then you could do it in real time, right? Like, you can't fast forward the candles, which is kind of a bummer. But I mean, hey, like, let's just 15-minute red dot. Again, not a legitimate strategy, but if this gives us a move down, you could set your, you can actually practice trading on this in real time, and it will keep it'll keep track of it, right? It'll keep track of your journal. Apparently, mine's up $107,000, up $7,000. I don't know what that's from or whatever, but this is kind of how you can practice, right? Super, super cool, super, super useful. But again, bar replay mode, in my opinion, is a little bit more useful, just for the simple fact that you can go and fast forward, right? Like, you can just get a lot more done in a short period of time. Once it breaks that far into profit, you would have moved your stop loss, though. Yeah, for sure, for sure. And then if you get stopped out, you get stopped out in profit. Not too bad. Death Burger said alpha. Absolutely, bro. I appreciate you. But yeah, let's see. This is saucy indeed. Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate you, Zach. And then Panda Storm said, one of the best streams for info to date. Thanks, Frankie Candle. Shout out to Panda. I appreciate you. Yeah, guys. Yeah, no problem, Emax. I'm about to wrap it up as well, guys. But yeah, I appreciate everybody. Hopefully, you guys got a little bit of a. Ooh, this trade's at break even, guys. I can't get a red trade on my paper trade account. I'm just kidding. But yeah, this is basically what I'd be looking for, guys. Be careful of that next move up. 15-minute bear div looking to print still, right? 4-hour VWAP starting to come down. I will say this, guys. I will say this. If we get the move up, it's going to come out of nowhere. So, like, I'm very tempted to say, like, hey, watch that 15-minute bear div, right? Like, I'll be honest. I wouldn't make this public probably, because I don't. Sometimes I take higher risk trades, right? And like I said, I like to share the highest probabilities. But like, I might look at some kind of a scalp short here potentially. I'm not saying I'm guaranteed to take this position, but I might look for something here if I can get decent confirmation. However, if we're going to get this pennant to break out to the upside, it is likely going to come out of nowhere and it's going to push through all the TA. So just understand that. And then also, guys, tomorrow is July 4th. I don't believe I will be. It depends, right? When I wake up tomorrow, I'm going to check the markets. I will update you guys at some point. It will likely not be a typical day. However, if Bitcoin starts going crazy, I'll be in the Discord with you guys. But if we're not really doing anything too crazy, I plan on keeping you somewhat updated. But like I said, it is important to take some time, enjoy your friends, enjoy your family, enjoy the holidays. You don't always get days off or legal holidays off. So, you know, I will be somewhat in touch. I don't know if I'm going to do a market update. I'm not 100% sure. It will not be a normal day, though. So just understand that. But I will keep you guys updated. If anything crazy happens, don't worry. I'm not going to leave anyone hanging. But go enjoy your 4th of July, guys. You know, don't get too sucked into the charts. Enjoy your friends, enjoy your family. Tony, yes. Tony has his hand up. Yes, sir.
Just I just hit chat from Frankie Candles. That TradingView link is the one that has a 50% deal right now.
Guys, okay.
35% off Pro Plus, 50% off Premium.
Put that in there. Okay, guys, we actually have a fire TradingView deal. Speaking of TradingView paid plans, I forget who was asking about it. This is fire. We have a massive TradingView deal. Is it just something they're doing, or is it like a referral link thing?
It's both, but if you use that link, it helps us out.
Okay, so if you guys use that link, if you guys want to get one of the higher versions of TradingView, 50% off premium, pretty savage. Even 25 and 35% off the other versions is awesome. If you use that link, you guys will help out the channel. I don't know if you have to use that link to get the discount, to be completely honest. If you don't want to help out the channel, feel free to go somewhere else. I'm not going to, you guys don't have to click our link. But if you go there, you guys will get some savage discounts. I forgot this actually just started, right? Yeah, it started today. I've known about this for a bit. I wanted to tease it, but I didn't know if it was final. But yeah, one of the biggest things about the paid version, guys, even if you get the lowest plan, which isn't that expensive, you get all the time frames. That's really the most important thing. Like, forget the indicators, for how many indicators you can have. That's helpful, but really the time frames is what I think they limit you on the free version of what time frames you could look at. It's really nice to be able to look at whatever time frame you want. But there you go. If you guys were already going to sign up, I know some people were talking about, maybe not having a paid account. Well, there you go. 50, 25, or 35% off. Check that out if you guys are interested. But guys, with all that being said, again, if we get this move up, I may take this scalp, guys. I'm not going to lie. I might take this scalp. But just understand, if we get this push up, it's likely to come out of nowhere. I will be keeping an eye on the charts for you guys. And as the setups present themselves, I will keep you updated. And with all that being said, I'll see you guys in a little while on the YouTube channel at 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you all for being in here. I appreciate you guys. Again, hopefully we can get this whole either move up or move down figured out in the beginning of the week so we can crush these trades again. Like I said, last week was great, except for the end was just very wish-washy. So hopefully we can get this stuff cleared up and continue to crush your trades this week. I appreciate everybody for being in the premium Discord. You guys are the best. So go get some discounts, and I'll see you guys at 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's all I got. Frankie Candles out. Bing bong.